What's going on, bottom line viewers and NFL bettors? It's Mitch here with my parlays to play and to win week number 2 of the 2022 NFL season, giving you a number of different parlays, including my favorite teaser of week 2. Before we get started, Gronk spike the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more NFL betting content just like this. Let's waste no more time. Let's get right into it. A new weekly addition to my parlays to play will be the Underdog Fantasy Pick'em Parlay to play this week. Underdog Fantasy, if you guys have never heard of them, I've got the shirt on because I absolutely love Underdog Fantasy. I play it all the time. In fact, I played it Thursday night and I won. So that was pretty cool. Now we've got the Pick'em section. You guys have probably never heard of it if you're not on Underdog Fantasy. They have so many different ways to play different games in terms of player props. You can, bet on any different player, any different way seemingly now this year for Underdog Fantasy. I love how they upgraded their format, and you can take numerous different over-unders, different versus different players. I mean, it's a real cool tool on Underdog Fantasy, and I highly recommend it if you're looking to play player props specifically on Underdog Fantasy. Right now, they've got an awesome offer that will be going on all season, and it's double your first deposit, up to $100, using the promo code BLV. That is TheBottomLineView, BLV. Use that promo code up to $100, so you could get $300 to use on a pick'em here. My pick'em of choice, you can do up to 5 different options, and it multiplies your money by 2 times every single time. So that's pretty cool, right? And that's what I really love about it. But now they added a new option where you can actually only hit like 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5 or whatever, and then you still win some money. So whichever way you want to go, if you want to be more conservative, more aggressive, you can choose. And Underdog Fantasy's put all the tools at your disposal. This week, my Underdog Fantasy Parlay. I've got 5 picks here. I've also made one with 3, but these are the 5 picks. I got Tyreek Hill over 6 receptions versus the Baltimore Ravens. I just don't think that the Ravens will be able to handle his speed and quickness. They've traditionally struggled with Tyreek Hill's speed in the past versus the Chiefs, and I think they will once again in this game. They also just funnel targets to this guy after watching that Patriots game. Tua under 250.5 yards. I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive, but a lot of the passing for the Dolphins is very short. It's a lot of screens. So a lot of short receptions to Tyreek, but not for a lot of yards, given that the Ravens are such a good defense. And I just think 250 yards in any week for Tua is just too many to expect from him. Baker Mayfield over 218.5 yards. I think Baker Mayfield benefits from his weapons this week. I think he hit some downfield shots. He went over this number last week against, in my opinion, a better pass defense than the Cleveland Browns. I think he does it again versus the Giants and has a good week this week. Number 4, we've got Tom Brady under 38.5 attempts. That's a lot of attempts in a game where I think the Bucs are going to run the ball, 25, 30 times. I just don't think there's going to be enough plays for the Bucs in this game to be able to go over that number. If this game script goes well for the Bucs, he's not throwing 40 times this week. I really like that one. And then we've got Saquon Barkley. I'm just riding the momentum of him. I'm going over 76.5 rushing yards versus the Carolina Panthers, a Panthers defense that struggled to contain both Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt last week. Saquon has another big week on the ground. That is my Underdog Fantasy Parlay. Remember, use the promo code BLV and double your first deposit up to $100. The Mitch Moneymaker Parlay. This is the go-to parlay, the spicy parlay of the week, involving some spreads this week, some totals this week, involving my favorite plays individually, and throwing it all together in one pot for a parlay. Let's begin with the Las Vegas Raiders minus 5.5, which is my favorite spread play of the week. Personally, I got it at 3.5, so I loved this pick at 3.5. It got bumped up to 5.5, but I still like it because you're still under a key number of 6. I do believe the Raiders, I'm even more confident about it, honestly, after Thursday Night Football. Watching the Chargers play a good game in Arrowhead against the Chiefs. The Chargers are legit. They went head-to-head with the Chiefs. They easily could have won that game. Pick 6 kind of swayed it. And we look at a Raiders team who lost by 5 in Los Angeles based on 3 interceptions from Derek Carr. They could have won that game with 3 minutes remaining with the football. I think the Raiders blow the doors off the Cardinals at home in their home opener. So give me the Raiders -5.5. My other spread play, my other favorite spread play of the week is the New York Jets getting 6.5 versus the Cleveland Browns. This is a very low total. It's like under 40 now, which if you get 6.5 points, it's almost a full touchdown and extra point. I know the Jets are kind of gross and people don't want to bet on them, but I think their defense is highly underrated. I think especially against the run. They bottled up a really good run attack of the Baltimore Ravens last week. They didn't really allow them to do much on the ground, and I think that could be the same against Nick Chubb. There is the potential that the Browns are missing some offensive linemen, so that forces the football into Jacoby Brissett's hands. We know he's not exactly the best quarterback in the world, and the Jets do have some underrated coverage players like the rookie Sauce Gardner who can go one-on-one and take away Amari Cooper or even Donovan Peoples-Jones. I like the Jets defense, and I think Joe Flacco, everyone makes fun of him, but he does distribute the football well. He is accurate. He gets rid of the ball. And he can get some of these guys in open space like Garrett Wilson, like Elijah Moore, who I really like. There's plenty of weapons there for the Jets to have a couple drives here to make this one interesting. And like I said, super low total. So give me those points with the Jets. I know it's gross, but sometimes you got to bet gross. And then we have the totals that I really like, including the Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens under the total of 44.5. I just don't like the matchup for either offense here. The Baltimore Ravens are a very strong run defense, which means the Miami Dolphins are not going to be able to run the ball, which forces the ball into the hands of Tua. And I'm not a big Tua guy, and I wasn't a big Tua guy based on his performance in week 1 versus New England. Missing open receivers, short, just not enough mustard on the football, and rattled by pressure, which the Baltimore Ravens are known to apply pressure on opposing quarterbacks. They also are very confusing. They show a lot of different fronts. They can disguise coverages. That could force mistakes. Tua should have had 3 picks last week. That could very well happen this week. On top of that, the opposite side of the ball. Miami did a fantastic job versus Lamar last year. I expect a similar blitz-heavy approach this year. Xavier Howard can take on Rashad Bateman. They do have talented safeties like Javon Holland to square up Mark Andrews. I think a lot's going to be on Lamar's shoulders to make plays. I just don't know if he has enough around him to do it against a very good Dolphins defense. So I like the under in that game. I'm not really sure who's going to win, but I like the under. And then the last total and last element of this parlay, the Moneymaker parlay, is the Tampa Bay New Orleans under. I also like this under, which is around the same number as the Dolphins and the Ravens. And the reason I like it is because, again, the matchups, but we have a Bucs defense that I believe could be the best in football this year. I believe that they could really take it to a Saints offensive line that is not very talented and does have deficiencies on the interior. I think Akeem Hicks, Vita Vea could really make life difficult on Jameis Winston. We've seen Carlton Davis kind of take away Michael Thomas in the past. The same can be said for the flip side of Marshawn Lattimore versus Mike Evans. There's no Chris Godwin in this game. There are injuries on the Bucs offensive line. So I am worried that the Bucs are not going to be able to pass the ball as effectively as they'd like, and they're going to lean on Lenny Fournette to run the ball, which makes the game closer, lower scoring. Therefore, the under should hit. Those are the 4 games involved in the Mitch Moneymaker parlay, and I really like this one this week. After seeing week 1, how that played out, now I'm more comfortable with these teams and these plays. So that is the first parlay of this video. The second parlay is, of course, the long shot underdog moneyline parlay, but we've got to go for it every once in a while. And actually this week, I pick all 3 of these teams to win the game. If I were to put money on these games and pick a winner, I would pick all 3 of these teams to win their games. So that being said, this is a confident underdog money line parlay. Now, we've got the Carolina Panthers taking on the New York Giants. The Giants, traditionally with Daniel Jones, not a very good home team. The Panthers are coming off a loss where a lot of people were expecting a revenge spot for Baker Mayfield. Well, Baker Mayfield in this spot, more comfortable entering week 2. They've promised more touches for Christian McCaffrey, which is a big problem in their offense week 1. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson facing very favorable matchups on the perimeter versus a weak Giant secondary. I understand Don Martindale can blitz Baker Mayfield, but Baker's got the matchups to exploit, not like he had in Cleveland versus the Baltimore secondary of Don Martindale. Now, on the flip side, The pass rush of Carolina is pretty good, and I think it will win the line of scrimmage versus Daniel Jones, and just one turnover could change this game. I'm a little bit afraid of Saquon Barkley, but the Giants should be afraid of Christian McCaffrey as well. So I'm taking the Panthers. I just think they're the better, more talented team. And then the second game on the underdog moneyline parlay is Washington. I leaned Detroit early, but after thinking about this game and thinking about the potential injuries that exist on the offensive line of Detroit, I think that negates the potential strength they have. I really liked how Carson Wentz played. I really did not like how Detroit's defense played. And digging into that Eagles game, that was a game that was over. That was a game that was over. I think that Detroit looked a lot better because of the score, 38-35, but they were getting their absolute butt kicked for a majority of the game by the Eagles offense. And I could see Carson Wentz, Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin ripping up this secondary. That is one of the weakest in football. So I like Washington there. Jared Goff could cause one or two mistakes based on pressure from Jonathan Allen and company. And then the third element of the underdog parlay is going to be the Jacksonville Jags. Yes, the Jacksonville Jags. I like them plus the 4. That was a best bet, but sprinkle a little bit on the money line, because now that we've seen some injuries to Indianapolis become concerning, like potentially Michael Pittman, like Alec Pierce, all of a sudden the Colts offense may not be able to match a Jacksonville offense that I think people are sleeping on what Trevor Lawrence and this receiving core is able to do. It's also a matchup. Jacksonville's a house of horrors for Indianapolis. They struggled to win there, even against the worst team in the league last year in the final game of the regular season. And I think Jacksonville could have won last week against Washington. I think Jacksonville is an underrated team right now. I think you take advantage of that. And I think Jacksonville is just better than people think, and I think the Colts are worse than people think. So I'm willing to go with Jacksonville as a part of this underdog money line parlay. Now let's talk about the teaser options for this week. The teaser options for this week, we have a multitude of them. We'll get to my teaser of the week right after I show you a couple alternative options for your teaser, depending on which games you like and which teams you like, because depending on where you want to go, I just want to advise you on the teasers that I would think about. Okay, so these are the teasers I think about. The Panthers plus 8, like I said, I think they can win the game. So I like that teaser, absolutely. If you think they can win and you're getting 8 points potentially in a teaser, that's a good play in my opinion. The Vikings on Monday Night Football. Now, personally, I think the Eagles will win, which is why I'm a little bit less so on this, but I do think it'll be a shootout. I do think that the Vikings can move the ball at will in the passing game against this Eagles soft coverage. So I do like the Vikings quite a bit as a football team, and I think that's a very even game. So I like the 8 points there. And also, Kirk Cousins in the fourth in garbage time is really good at backdoor covering, if that happens. Pittsburgh Steelers, plus 8.5 in a defensive battle against the Patriots at home. That's also another opportunity there. And then you've got New Orleans. Like I said, another defensive battle in New Orleans against a team that they've typically beat in the regular season. That's not a bad look, but I just never bet against Tom Brady. So I didn't include it in my teaser of the week. My teaser of the week, though, is a little bit different. I'm not taking points. I'm actually, limiting the points that I got to cover. So I've got the Cincinnati Bengals going from 7-point favorites to 1-point favorites as a part of my teaser, taking, it through the key numbers of 7, 6, 4, 3, and then you get it under a field goal and under even 2 points. So the Bengals against a backup quarterback, a team that I still think is being overvalued in the Dallas Cowboys. You've got a team that wants to come out hard in the Bengals after a loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I like that one. And then the Raiders, a team that I just think is going to flat out win and bully the Cardinals. All they got to do is win this game at home in their home opener. And I understand people might not want to do that. So if you want to go somewhere else and take points in a different game, that's cool. But personally, I really like the Raiders. I think they're a good football team. I think they can exploit a bad defense in Arizona. I trust Josh McDaniels. I trust Derek Carr to have a bounce back. And I trust the fans of the Raiders to be rowdy and loud. So give me the Raiders and the Bengals as the teaser of the week. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. My parlays to play and to hopefully win in week 2. I feel good about these this week. Let me know your whatever parlay you're playing, whatever teaser you're playing, let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out Underdog Fantasy. Use the promo code and they will double your first deposit up to $100. I'm telling you guys, their pick'ems are really awesome. I actually won one Thursday night during that epic football game. So check it out this weekend. Play your first ever pick'em and get a free $100. That sounds pretty good to me. Check it out, guys. Thanks for watching. Gronk, spike the like button, subscribe. We'll see you soon. Peace.